In the age before the Imperium's collapse, before the galaxy drowned in 10,000 years of war, there was a time when the Emperor's sons stood as the pinnacle of his design. 20 Primarchs, demigods in flesh, scattered by the ruinous powers and found again during the Great Crusade. Together, they conquered the stars. They were generals, philosophers, killers, and visionaries. But perfection cannot last, and when the bonds of brotherhood fractured, when loyalty met pride and faith twisted into damnation, the sons of the Emperor did what no mortal dared believe possible. They turned their blades upon each other. This is the tale of those moments, the rare, canonically confirmed clashes when the Primarchs fought their brothers. Not rumor, not what if, but the true battles written in the blood of demigods. The first true duel between Primarchs came not in the name of conquest, but of betrayal. Fulgrim, the Phoenician, and Ferrus Manus, the Gorgon, once brothers closer than any other pair. Together they forged weapons and dreams during the Great Crusade. But as Fulgrim's soul succumbed to Slaanesh's temptations, his perfection curdled into vanity and his loyalty turned to rot. When the Horus heresy erupted, Fulgrim sought to bring Ferrus into Horus's cause. He came with silken words and false brotherhood, but Ferrus saw only deceit. The Gorgon struck first, refusing corruption. Steel met steel, the perfect duelist against the unstoppable blacksmith. Fulgrim's blade was the Laren's cursed weapon, the serpent sword that sang with demonic hunger. Ferrus's hammer, Forgebreaker, rang with the weight of loyalty and iron wrath. The battle was savage and personal. They had trained together, each knew the other's strengths. For a moment it seemed Ferrus would triumph, his raw fury driving Fulgrim back, his blows shattering walls and armor alike. But Fulgrim's fall was already complete. Possessed by the demon within the blade, he struck a fatal blow. The sword cleaved Ferrus's neck, and the Gorgon's head fell. Thus ended the first duel of brother against brother. Ferrus Manus became the first Primarch to die, his death sealing Fulgrim's damnation and marking the point of no return for Horus's rebellion. The Great Crusade's unity died that day with him. If Fulgrim and Ferrus embodied pride and loyalty, then the lion and curs represented order and chaos, the eternal struggle between discipline and terror. Lionel Johnson, Primarch of the Dark Angels, sought reason and control. Conrad Cursor, the Night Haunter, lived only through fear and violence. Their meeting was inevitable. Their first real clash came on Sagualsa, when the lion led his legion to capture the rogue curs, whose actions had devolved into unrestrained slaughter. The Night Haunter had turned from a conqueror into a murderer, killing imperial officials and spreading horror across the realm he was meant to protect. When the lion cornered his brother, the confrontation was not just physical, but moral. The lion demanded obedience. Curs laughed, a ghost of a man consumed by his own nightmares. The two fought like reflections of opposite ideals, the lion's measured precision against Curs's feral savagery. Curs struck with desperation and spite, darting from shadows, his lightning claws slashing in wild arcs. The lion parried with calm fury, every blow measured to subdue, not kill. The duel raged across the ruins until the lion finally overpowered Curs, knocking him unconscious. But rather than slay him, the lion bound his brother and handed him over to the Imperium for judgment. It would not last. Curs escaped captivity and continued his reign of terror. But the scar of that defeat lingered. Later, during the unremembered Empire, they would cross blades again. On Macraga, in the city that Guilliman sought to make a refuge from the madness of the heresy, Cursor haunted the shadows, striking at his loyalist brothers. When the lion found him again, their fight was shorter but no less vicious. Neither could end the other, two sides of the same imperial coin, locked forever in moral opposition. Some Primarch duels were born from betrayal, others from inevitability. When the Word-Bearers and World-Eaters descended upon Ultramar, the domain of Robert Guilliman, it was more than a campaign. It was vengeance and hatred, forged by chaos itself. Lorgar, now a dark prophet of the ruinous powers, had nurtured his brother Angron's fury until it became a weapon of the gods. Together, they brought war to Guilliman's empire of reason. The Ultramarines stood as a symbol of what the Imperium could have been: disciplined, orderly, and loyal. To destroy it would be to strike at the heart of the Emperor's dream. When Guilliman met his brothers in open battle during the Shadow Crusade, the clash was titanic. Angron descended upon the battlefield like a storm of blood, while Lorgar's psychic might warped reality around him. Guilliman fought alone, his forces scattered, and his empire burning. He held the line with everything he had. The Primarch of Ultramar fought Angron blow for blow, matching his brother's savage fury with measured strikes and precise counters. Angron's chain axes tore through ceramite and stone, but Guilliman refused to fall. Lorgar joined in, his sorcery twisting the world into a nightmare of fire and screaming souls. Outnumbered, wounded, and exhausted, Guilliman could not win, but he could endure. And endure he did, holding long enough for fate itself to intervene. When the ruin storm erupted, tearing the galaxy asunder in a warp storm that split the stars, the battle ended. Guilliman survived. Angron and Lorgar vanished into the maelstrom. The fight had no victor, only ruin. But it proved one thing. Even two Primarchs, fueled by the gods themselves, could not easily break Robout Guilliman. The duel between Rogel Dawn and Alfarius remains one of the most enigmatic episodes in all Imperial history. Where most Primarchs fought for ideals or hatred, these two met for a mystery that endures even now. As the Horus heresy neared its climax, the Alpha Legion struck deep behind enemy lines, seeking to destabilize the Imperium's defenses from within. Alfarius, the Hydra-headed master of deception, had infiltrated the Sol system itself. When Dawn discovered the threat, he confronted Alfarius personally on the planet of Pluto's moons. During one of the final Loyalist efforts to secure the solar system, the two brothers met in the shadows of fortifications and void defense arrays. The battle was short but brutal, a clash of absolute opposites. Dawn fought with the blunt fury of unbending loyalty, wielding his immense strength like a hammer of inevitability. Alfarius countered with speed, cunning, and hidden weapons, his attacks more like an assassin's strikes than a warrior's duel. Accounts of the duel describe Alfarius as elusive, darting in and out, always looking for a weakness. Dawn absorbed blow after blow until in a single furious exchange he struck a killing blow, a blade through Alfarius's chest. The Hydra fell and Dawn stood victorious, though grief-stricken. Or so the records say. For the Alpha Legion's secrets are deep, and some whisper that it was not Alfarius who died, but his twin Omegon. The truth remains obscured. But canon holds that Dawn slew Alfarius during the heresy, one Primarch killing another, both in service of causes they believed righteous. If ever there was a duel that embodied tragedy, it was that between Vulcan of the Salamanders and Conrad Kurz of the Night Lords. Two brothers as different as light and void, caught in an endless cycle of torture and defiance. When the Salamanders were shattered at Istvan V, Vulcan was captured by Kurza. But the Night Haunter's intention was not simple execution. He sought to break his brother's spirit, to prove that even the most compassionate of Primarchs could succumb to despair. Kurz killed Vulcan again and again, tormenting him for what seemed an eternity. But Vulcan could not die. He was perpetual, cursed or blessed with immortality. Each time he fell, he rose again, and each time Kurz's rage deepened. The duel that followed their captivity was not a single fight, but a cycle, Kurz's relentless brutality against Vulcan's endless endurance. When Vulcan finally broke free, their confrontation reached its peak. The Salamander unleashed his full strength, hurling Kurz aside like a shadow fleeing light. Though Kurz escaped, he carried the memory of that battle forever, the one brother he could not truly destroy, no matter how many times he tried. This was not a clean duel, nor one with a victor in the traditional sense. It was a philosophical confrontation, mercy versus cruelty, faith versus despair. Both survived, but neither was unchanged. No clash in Imperial history carries the same weight as the final duel between Sanguinius, the Angel of Baal, and Horus, the Warmaster turned arch-traitor. It is the climax of the Horus heresy, the point where all brotherhood was finally extinguished in blood. When the walls of the Imperial Palace fell and Horus lowered his shields to lure the Emperor aboard his flagship, Sanguinius was the first to answer the call. The angel fought his way through the decks of the vengeful spirit, cutting down demons and traitors alike, until at last he stood before Horus himself. What passed between them in that chamber has been retold countless times. Some say Sanguinius pleaded with his brother, offering redemption. Others say Horus struck without hesitation, already consumed by chaos. What is certain is that they fought, and the duel was apocalyptic. Sanguinius, graceful even in fury, struck with the speed of a lightning storm. Horus countered with the strength of the gods, his blows cracking the deck plates of the flagship. The angel's sword pierced Horus's armor, drawing blood, but it was not enough. Empowered by the warp, Horus crushed his brother's body and broke his wings. Sanguinius fell, slain by the brother he had once loved above all others. His death was not in vain. When the emperor arrived moments later, seeing the fallen angel at Horus's feet, he unleashed his full fury. It was Sanguinius's sacrifice that gave the emperor the will to end Horus once and for all. Thus ended the greatest of the Primarch duels, and with it, the heresy itself. In the end, the Primarch's greatest enemies were not the Xenos or the Warp, but themselves. And so the tale of the Primarch's battles is not one of glory, but of tragedy. For when demigods fight, empires burn.